Okay, here we are. Thanks everyone for joining. This is the second appointment that I have the pleasure to coordinate as the Humans Coordinator for the EU Sign Day initiative. We have some people today connected that didn't attend the previous meeting, but also I think it's good to review what we have discussed last week to try and define the key elements of the initiative so that we can start officially to work on that, promoting that, and also connecting with potential partners, supporters of the initiative. Let's try to summarize. The idea of EU Sign Day is to associate the 9th of May, which is usually Europe Day, and this year carries even more relevance because it's going to be, and this is official, the start of the conference on the future of Europe. And to create on that day an opportunity for as many European citizens as possible to be informed about the right to sign all or those that they want, European citizen initiatives. The important element of this action is that is going to be self-organization process of something that as ECI promoters we identified as essential, which is an involvement of the EU institutions in actions of information addressing the European citizens about this political right that is available. On the other side, it's an opportunity to ask and in a collaborative manner to the institution to do what we need them to do. And the third element is also to offer the political proposals that are currently ongoing in the ECIs as one of the topics, as once of the topics for the conference on the future of Europe. Last week we had a meeting where we went through a lot of ideas on how to gain as much as possible the penetration in the European public sphere from an institutional perspective. So some of the ideas were around the outreach that we can do to the Europe Direct points, our demands to ask that references to all the ongoing European citizen initiatives could be included in the platforms that are going to be launched for the conference on the future of Europe, but also on the institutional platforms. At the same time, and it's important to have this update, we got the replies to our letter that we sent to Commissioner Jourova from the cabinet, and we discussed this last week, from the Economic and Social Committee, and this is from this week, from the Committee of the Regions. All of them asked us to propose us to schedule follow-up meetings where we can present our proposals. So the reason why I'm holding a bit on this is because I think the 9th of May should be part of what we send them as materials and information on the 9th of May in itself to see what they can do. But technically there is this bridge officially with the three institutions, plus thanks to Tony Venables, also with the head of unit of the European Parliament that takes care of civic outreach. I don't remember the technical name, but Tony made me an introduction to her. So also the same proposals can be submitted to the Parliament. I think the two main topics of discussion for tonight, also based on the round of conversations that I had with Omri in particular, but also leveraging the presence of Daniela and the others. I would say there are three lines. The first one is, it's going to be a very packed day, usually Europe Day it is, and the fact that it's the official inauguration of the conference on the future of Europe, it's an opportunity politically for the relevance of our initiatives, but it's also something that we need to take into account in the way how we frame the initiative. So I think a bit of debate on this is important. The second element is, and I'm sorry that Karsten is not here with us, but the ownership of the initiative, as he defines the concept, and also the potential, and I think fundamental collaboration with the Citizens Take Over Europe coalition. As you all know, we are not only promoting StopGlobalWarming.eu, but also as a movement, Humans is part of this coalition. It's proving itself one of the most powerful advocacy platforms for the involvement of citizens in the Conference on the Future of Europe. And therefore, I think formalizing a collaboration with Citizens Take Over Europe can be quite important to have a deeper penetration of the initiative, but also to ensure a sort of not neutrality is not the right term, but like something that can contain all the European citizen initiative, and making sure that these gets also in the decision-making table of the Conference on the Future of Europe, or if we're left out, we have a platform to vocalize this being left out. This, and also I think who does what, in the sense that last weekend I shared before the meeting a list of the actions that had been mentioned and the people / organizations that are kind of more hands-on with that specific things. Omri from Alliance for Europe offered their support to realize the to create the website for the initiative. But I think it's important to have an agreement among us on how this can function. And that's it. The good thing is that Elvig got a quote from YouGov from one of the ideas that we explored last week, which was to commission a third party to do a survey on the knowledge of European citizen initiative among the European citizens. Maybe Elvig, when we go in the debate, you can tell us a bit which type of proposal they made. And also I listed in the actions, the potential actions, some contribution that other organizations can bring. I had a chat with OpenEU Debate, which is this academic network that I mentioned last week, that they could provide content and academic backup to the action. And also New Europeans, which is another organization that has a strong focus on European citizenship, can help from a content perspective. In addition to the proposal suggested by Tony Venables of creating some content using Brussels as the space to kind of create some videos or elements that can show how the ECI is unknown also in the European bubble. So content-wise, there is this potential series of typology. But I think the focus today should be on trying to finally define the identity of the event, the relationship with the other things that are going to happen on the 9th of May, and also if we all agree to, for example, have a unique landing page, potentially designed by Alliance for Europe, but a hook with Citizens Take Over Europe, which could be also the platform that if we collect signatures, sorry, not signatures, but support to the initiative, could be the one that has the data with the commitment of doing information about the EU Sign Day on behalf of all the ECI promoters. So somehow become a channel of information on all the ECIs that are participating in the initiative, and also a channel for promoting politically these topics within the Conference on the Future of Europe, 9th of May and after that. Last thing, yesterday there was the first meeting of the executive board that is gonna manage, let's put it in this way because the term is quite management related, the Conference on the Future of Europe. And there is a date that is important for us, which is the 19th of April, there is going to be the launch of the digital platform created by the EU institutions for the Conference on the Future of Europe, which, if we remember from last week, was one of the targets for giving visibility to this initiative. And then the 9th of May, the formal launch of the conference is going to be in Strasbourg. And then on the 10th of May, there is the first conference plenary of the Conference on the Future of Europe. So these are the topics on the table. I hope I was clear enough in the presentation, even if I don't have slides. And so let's try to come to a conclusive decision on these aspects and the roadmap for the next weeks, based also on what we technically can do, and also to what extent we want to have the how we can have the relationship with Citizens Over Europe functioning, as well as with the many partners that we hopefully are gonna get. That's it. Maybe, I mean, just raise your hands if you have questions and comments. And of course, I encourage particularly those who didn't follow the previous meetings to say something if you have questions or things that don't look clear or can be clarified. Okay. Okay, cool. Mark, of course, if you want to integrate what I said, that's a good moment.
Hi there. Maybe I'll just jump in if there is some space.
Yes, and introduce yourself, Omri, because
yes, I will do. I was about to. So hi, I'm Omri. I'm Managing Director of Alliance for Europe. I'm based in Brussels, and Virginia and I have been speaking about this. As Virginia briefly said, my main point was to say that given that the Conference on the Future of Europe is launching, investing this whole campaign as sign day in the day itself might be a bit of a risk, and it might be a good thing to develop a sort of a longer term initiative that is somehow linked with the future, you know, to link in with the Conference on the Future of Europe, and then to be able to have sort of a climactic day, so use Europe Day as like a climax of a sign day as was proposed, but to have a longer term sort of brand that's there. So I was thinking along the lines of something like sign for your future or sign for my future, you know, depending if whether it's, you know, then you could do a hashtag of signing for my, I'm signing for my future because, or I'm going to sign for my future because, or alternatively, you should sign for your future, whichever one you should, you prefer. And then you could do a little bit of a run up to the 9th of May, then have this sign day on the 9th of May, and then continue from there for a while to kind of keep this on people's radars and kind of tell a story about it. And what I would also suggest is to sort of broaden it out a little bit, so it's not just about ECIs, but just about active citizenship more generally, like getting involved, shaping your future, and so on. And then ECIs become a part of that, sort of they can be a central part of that, but we just need to take into account that there is some explaining to do about what ECIs are to begin with. And then maybe in that way, more organizations can come in. I mean, there's also petitions to the European Parliament that people need to sign for, or petitions in general in terms of civil society action, and then just give people something really concrete to do and explain to them, why is this important? Like, what do you need to sign? Why do you need to sign it? What difference is it going to make? You know, these are things that just need to be crystal clear for people when they first see this. So these were just my points in terms of how to shape it. As
I think we lost you, Omri, or at least I lost you.
I stopped. That's okay. Because I finished.
Okay.
I was done. That was my big finale.
Okay, boom, mic drop. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let the other speak. I have a couple of comments on the point of the ECI. No, I made my point immediately. Sorry, just to try to keep us on the track. I believe a key focus is for this to be for European citizen initiatives, because first of all, it's what brought us together. Secondly, it's because we want the recognition for the citizens who decide to invest time, energies on the institutional participatory democracy instrument of the European Union. And somehow we want that people that get active can find in DCI's committee a space for being active. So I don't want to be fascist, so of course it's up for discussion, but I believe it's the ECI signature day. It's kind of in the identity of the initiative in itself to have this focus, and what brought all the ECI promoters that are working on this here. So I add these two Omri points. I agree maybe with the I agree with the others, but this point I think it's kind of the foundation of the event. So unless Omri is not too connected to this idea and the others have other opinions, but I think the core of the ECI is our opportunity also to increase the knowledge of the ECI, to address the institution and so forth and so on. So on this, I think it's important to have this reference. Then of course we can debate, but okay. For the rest of me, I'm taking notes, and okay, I'm not fascist, so I feel better.
Okay. Sorry, Virginia, I don't see if there are any hands.
There is Daniela.
Okay, so I raise my hand.
Okay,
sorry.
thank you.
Yeah, maybe just a quick point. I'm jumping in just a little bit with some very little background information since I couldn't join the meeting last week, unfortunately. But I don't know if this has already been discussed, or maybe even the idea brought forward to connect it a little bit more with the Conference on the Future of Europe, and to discuss the ECI also as if it were a topic that would be discussed at the Conference on the Future of Europe. So to really look critically at the instrument, at the regulation. I mean, you all know what the setbacks are at this point when you're the campaigners of ECIs. So to also look at it in a broader perspective, what would need treaty change, what we could do, and maybe this could be like a panel with some experts, some of the campaigners themselves, like a firsthand perspective of, okay, this is what we like about the ECI, but if we have this opportunity, maybe with a Conference on the Future of Europe, to improve the tool, that here's what we could improve it. And we can, as an outcome from this kind of panel, we can do like a report and like recommendations for the ECI. And hopefully, of course, the ECI does get on the agenda of the conference. And then there's a little bit of work that we've done already to set the foundation so they can start from there. But I don't know if this has already been discussed at all.
So you mean, sorry, just to clarify the question from Daniela, then Marco, and then Tony, you mean like on the instrument in itself, not on the topic on the agenda of the ECI? Like
I think so, right? Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably already so many ideas that we'll discuss about the topics themselves, but maybe then in a broader perspective about the ECI tool. I don't know if we would think that is interesting, but I think it would be a good opportunity. Now is the time to talk about the ECI in broader perspectives if it gets on the agenda of the conference, and it probably should.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. I noted it down. There is Marco Cappato and then Tony.
Well, I think that the point Amri made, and also what Daniela just said, in a way we can combine the two things, because there is May 9, and then there is May 10, of course. So I think that we are creating a very simple tool with a web page, very, very simple, not an articulated website, where we try to connect the two messages. Europe Day is a sign day. So it is a good day to inform people on the possibility of doing something concrete to sign European Citizen Initiative. Then, of course, there is a longer term endeavor for the following days and the following weeks and months, which is within the Conference of Europe, what we can do, what we can propose. And of course, we have also to work on that. Maybe there is this conference on the future, the coalition Citizens Take Over Europe, which is also a place in which we are discussing which reforms to put on the agenda of the Conference on the Future of Europe. But I think that the two the two issues are not alternative. We have to concentrate on the idea that this very simple web page with a very simple message, with a very simple call to action is concentrated for May 9, which is Europe Day, Sign Day. And then, of course, we are ready for May 10 to accompany the life of the Conference on Future of Europe with a more steady endeavor that each and every organization that we represent will try to do and to organize, to make proposals. For example, we could ask also to European political parties to help us in transforming Europe's Day in Sign Day. Every kind of organization within their own event can. So it's a proposal. This Sign Day is not a proposal overlapping with others. It's a proposal that any kind of conference, webinar, organization who is doing something for Europe's Day can also use this message of, hey, citizens, have a look to the European Citizen Initiative because this is a very good day to sign. So I think that the specific 9 of May endeavor and what will be the follow-up are not in competition, but it's very important that if we send a message on the possibility of signing, that should be very simple, that should be on the point. There are European citizen initiatives. You can look at them, you can read them on the website, and you can choose which you want to sign. And then we will discuss to reform the instruments, the participation, and so on and so forth. But the call to action, I think, should be very, very simple.
Okay, there is Tony.
Yes, I agree that the focus should be on ECIs, and it's great that ECI organizers have been brought together. This hasn't happened enough, and we should really make the most of that and really focus very strongly on ECIs. And in that respect, I've got two proposals. The first comes from what you've just announced, that the web pages are going to be put up on 19th of April, which is pretty soon. I'm wondering if we could agree, if all of us could agree that that you and Marco should write to a response to the Commission letter, a very short response, saying, you know, we've received your letter and take good note of what you say. We are also aware that there is a good opportunity coming up to promote ECIs with the launch of the multilingual website, participatory web platform for the Conference on the Future of Europe, which will be launched on 19th of April. We very much hope that a prominent position will be given to European Citizens Initiative on that page. And then end the letter by saying we reserve the right to come back to you on other aspects of our correspondence at a later stage, as we plan for our sign an ECI event on 9th of May. But I think if you want to let's test the Commission a bit, and if we want to get on this webpage, we have to send in a formal request right now, and we've got a good excuse to send in a formal request because we've got a letter from the Commission, which we should at least acknowledge or give a short reply to anyway. The second proposal I have is that I think that we need to keep the focus on ECIs also for the longer term. And I felt at the last meeting that there was a strong case for resurrecting a coalition which campaigned for reform of the regulation and a better ECI, and that it would be, as Carsten Berg suggested at the last meeting, it would be relatively easy to resurrect this coalition and say, okay, we got quite a bit of what we asked for on the legislative front, but it hasn't made enough difference. There are not enough ECIs, there's not enough successful ECIs, and therefore more needs to be done. And then this coalition, which was specifically set up on ECIs, would be backing up our demands. And I think that would also be a bit of an answer to Carsten's question about, ownership. I think there's one group, which is us users of the ECIs, with our appeal to sign ECIs on 9th of May. And then there's a kind of supporting civil society coalition, which actually has a fantastic track record. I mean, it was brilliantly led by Daniela Vancic and Martin de Groot. I mean, they did a fantastic job lobbying the European Parliament. Not the most easy rapporteur to deal with, for example, or political groups. It was a brilliant operation, and a lot of people will remember it. And if those two could resurrect it, it would be very easy to do. I think there Carsten could be right, but I mean, I'm not expecting an answer right now, but I think it's just a question we could leave with Daniela. I mean, Daniela's still working in the same position in Democracy International as she was when she ran the coalition, but Martin de Groot has deserted a small organization for Citizens Initiative and gone to a rather larger outfit, which is something called Bertelsmann, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Bertelsmann. Yes, I've heard of Bertelsmann. We've all heard of Bertelsmann. He might well be working still in a relevant area. I don't know. So those are my 2 points, yes. But I think, Virginia, honestly, you're right. On this occasion, you're not always right, but on this occasion, you're definitely right that we've got to keep the focus pretty clearly on ECIs, yeah. There will be a lot of other people campaigning on other instruments as well, I mean, it's not that other broader aspects will be forgotten, they certainly won't.
Thank you, Tony. I see Daniela raised her hand. I just want to say that I was very polite and I replied to Jourova very quickly. But now I have the pending meeting with the ECI team, and maybe I can re-reply and say, in the meantime, this is the urgent thing that can be done like this, more or less. And then these are the other proposals. Daniela.
Yeah, no, just to respond to what Tony just said. So as far as for Martin, we would have to reach out to him. He might be working on this on a personal capacity. He did a lot of work with us in the beginning with Citizens Take Over Europe, and I think he's just now busy with his job. But maybe he would, in his personal capacity, do some work with us. Yes, so there was, for that campaign, that was 2018, and there was about 70, maybe close to 80 NGOs who signed this open letter for this campaign. We had to improve the European Parliament's answer to successful ECIs, which was successful in the end. And so, of course, I think we can reach out to these organizations. This was a couple years ago. It might not be the same people that worked there. For example, Martin was at the time working with the ECI campaign, now no longer. So, but that would be, of course, Carsten. So I'm sure at least some of these organizations, maybe some of the core ones, we could really motivate again. And I don't know how that works with GDPR. What if I can, if we could reach out to them again? Of course, we can say they were campaign alliances, maybe not as a mass mailing, but more individually. We can go through the list and see who would be relevant for us. So we're not, of course, years later after some old dead campaign that we spam them. I don't know how it is with the data rules and so on, but I can, of course, share the contact list and we can look through it. I'm looking also now, I'm trying to find in our archives the list of those NGOs that did sign. If I find it, I will put it in the chat, the link.
Thank you, Daniela. And a question for you on the reform of the ECI point, because I think it's true that as organizers, one focus is the signatures and probably is also the urgent need. I mean, we can't dedicate too much time on things that is not the collection of signatures. On the other side, a bit our proposals are in the line of reforms. So I was wondering if, as Democracy International, you are already working maybe in collaboration with other organizations for something like this, and eventually we could kind of chime in or like join that effort as a not side project, but like we keep the focus on this concept of the signatures and the information for the action. And on the other side, every time that I write to an ECI promoter, I receive a lot of ideas on how to make it better. So maybe if we can funnel it somehow into the work that is already ongoing, and then of course keep the line through these meetings and all the actions, but maybe it's something that is, since it's the core of what Democracy International does, maybe we can back up with the initiative what you maybe already are planning to do or not. I don't know.
Yeah. So actually, there's no current campaign that I know of, at least not that we're involved with, that's running on ECI reform right now. There was a lot going on back in 2018 or so, because this is when they announced that there would be a revision of the regulation, the first time ever for the ECI. So this was a real big window of opportunity. Since then, things have a little bit quiet down. There is a lot of chat about the online collection system, because as you probably know, by the end of 2022 or beginning of 2022, I have to check exactly, but at some point in 2022, the individual online collection system that a lot of ECIs use, maybe some of you use, will be phased out. That means the organizers can't choose that anymore. It will just be the one that the Commission offers. And this is also a position of the Parliament has also stood up against this. There was also a working document that MEP Helmut Scholz just published on citizens' participation in the EU, where they also bring up these points to criticize the ECI and also say that, yeah, taking away the individual online collection system will be harmful for the ECI. So this is something we can also think about, maybe some kind of campaign a little bit around this. And, you know, ECI is talking about how great their individual online collection system is and how that was easy to use. And if anything, maybe it's, I mean, this is maybe clear that the individual online collection system will go, but maybe we can improve the central online collection system to be then so good. If it's going to be the only one, it should be the best possible version it can be. So maybe there's a way to improve something there.
Thank you. Elvig.
Yeah. I totally agree with what you were saying. I like the long-term perspective Henri told us, and I think this is a good idea. And I'm just a bit confused by all this names. I'm new here. Conference Future of Europe, Alliance for Europe, Democracy International, all the ECIs. Sometimes confusing me, but I mean, one thing is clear for me. Here are some ECIs collecting signatures for their topic, and here are some other which focus on the ECI as an instrument for the citizens of Europe. And so it's a logical thing to work together here. And my idea, I told last week, is I mean, how we can link people to our landing page, to the EU Sign Day, and also to link to all the ECIs. And I think a number would be good, a figure. The initial moment of this idea was the 75%. The Commissioner Jourova was answering, saying that 75% of the EU citizens are aware of their right to participate in an ECI. At the same time, explaining what an ECI is. So this is completely rubbish. And I think a good way to let the press and media interest in our ECIs and in the ECI itself is to show that the level of awareness in the EU is very, very low. This is my assumption. And I guess you feel more or less the same, as there are no more than maybe 10, maybe 15, or maybe 0 point something be aware of an ECI as an instrument where you can participate. So my idea is, yeah, to figure out the level of awareness of an ECI as an instrument. And could you please enable screen sharing, Virginia?
I think you can.
And unfortunately, this is I just want to show you an offer from YouGov. YouGov is popular research institute, and you see the price here. I mean, you don't need to read the German language, but as you can see, it's 2 questions here, and yeah, you get some discounts for NGOs. So the idea is to figure out the level of awareness by 2 questions, and then we have a number, and we can split it by age and sex and geography, region, etc. And let's say when we want to give a picture for Europe or for the EU, we should get the results for at least 4 countries. And it's Germany, Italy, Finland, and I just decided for Hungary, but this is a little bit too expensive, I guess. So I don't know, Greece, Bulgaria, Spain, Portugal, anything, any country would work too, I guess. I mean, yeah, and this is the price. And if we split the price, yeah, to all the initiatives in here, we are at least 5 or 6 ECIs plus EUMANS and I don't know, whatever or whoever would like to participate, because I think we all benefit from this number, because this is of high interest for the press, and we in Germany at least, we would like to buy this, and so the idea is to open it to you, to others, which on the one hand reduces the price, because we will finance the German poll, and on the other hand we can involve it in our collaboration for the EU Sign Day and or for a long-term perspective with this number. So maybe we can repeat it in a few months, or I don't know, whatever. So this is the idea. I think it's of great benefit for all of us. We will release a press paper showing the number and linking to the EUSignDay.eu page. And I think this is a very good way, to let the people aware of the ECI itself and the ECI for UBI and freedom to share, etc., stop global warming. For the time frame, it's showing that they can do it within 1 week, so 3 to 5 days. So you have at least 1 week. It's time to maybe clarify this with your organizations. If you're able to, let's say, I don't know, 6,000 divided by, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 organizations. So we are at around, say, 700 to 1,000 euro each. If you agree, and maybe less when we Germans take the whole price for the German poll. So that's my offer, and yeah, would be great to do this with you together.
Thank you, Alvig. So just as a reference for time, we have to finish at 7 because then we have a training for the stopglobalwarming.eu activists who are collecting the signatures. So we close at 7, and so I see Ali Mutlu. Ali Mutlu is the name, or Ali? It's enough.
Oh, it's enough. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Virginia. I'm here together with Klaus and Helvig. We are working for the ECI UBI campaign. I have an idea, but I don't know it is meaningful or not. I'm not sure, but I would like to share. The issue is this ECI tool is very interesting because I don't, let me tell you something specific, this UBI project, UBI campaign. This UBI campaign is not only for EU area, it is for the whole world. I mean, it is being followed by many people from different countries other than European Union member states. And that's why we support it a lot. But the issue is, this ECI tool is a very interesting tool and which is valid for the EU member states only. And in many countries, they do not have such a tool. But my understanding is that people are not aware of these tools. My point is, is it possible to make a preliminary campaign before the EU sign day campaign? My point is, maybe all these ECI campaigns are trying to solve certain problems. Maybe we should prepare the list of problems first, and without mentioning the campaign, without mentioning the ECI, without mentioning the solution, maybe we should always ask the questions, oh, don't you have this problem? Is it possible to solve? I mean, try to challenge the people. But after some time, then say them that, oh, yes, it's possible. In fact, you have to sign the ECI campaigns. So, I mean, in the first preliminary campaign, maybe just the problems can be mentioned without any EU sign day, without any ECI terminology, so that people will start thinking that, oh, yes, I have such a problem and how we can solve it. I mean, I couldn't express myself in English that good, but my point was to raise the problems first. Let's say there are 10 ECI campaigns. This means that at least 10 or 20 problems can be mentioned, and make a campaign of these problems. And then afterwards, try to challenge people. Do you know that you can participate to shape the future, to change the problem, to solve the problem, etc. And then give the recipe. So what's the recipe? Recipe is signing the ECI campaigns. I mean, do you think it might be interesting to have a two-level campaign? In the first level, just the questions and the problems without any ECI, without any EU sign day. And in the second stage, okay, you can do something, and what you can do is you can sign the petition and give support to these people who are fighting for the solution of this problem.
Thank you, Ali. It's a good suggestion for the, let's call it marketing strategy without being afraid of calling marketing strategy.
Dear Virginia, one last sentence. If you kindly let me, I can send you one or two paragraphs, something about this, so that I can mention myself more clearly by email, in a written way.
Of course, I'm gonna put here the link of the concept note where we also have the meeting notes, so you can add it there, and then we. Is it okay if I share with you the document where you can add it? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Ali's idea is a very good idea. We have to keep in mind that we don't have much time. So to have a two-stages campaign, if we want to do that, we have to start very, very quickly, because if not, we don't have enough time to switch from this first unlabeled idea of raising the problem that then you can solve, and later on giving the solution. This two-stages campaign is possible if we start very, very quickly. So yes, please, Ali, if you can write it down, how do you realize that, how you would realize that, and we have to consider very, very quickly if we have enough time to do it.
Can I just add something very quickly? So I missed a little bit, but I did pick up this suggestion about the opinion poll. I think it could be really interesting, actually. I mean, that would attract press attention. So yes, I mean, we would stretch ourselves, make the contribution for the costs of the opinion poll. On the choice of countries, if it was possible to do Denmark rather than Finland, it would be just great for us. I don't have to explain the reasons, but that would be fantastic. One last thought. If there's a landing page, which is published on the 10th of May, all our teams should be working on social media to draw attention to that landing page, okay? But we're not going to commit our team until you commit yours, if you see what I mean. But if we all decided that everyone working on our individual ECIs was going to work on bringing attention to the landing page through social media, and we had some nice design features we could spread around, and clear messages, that could be really effective. Actually, you could maybe get something moving quite extensively in that way. But it would mean, I think, putting our teams at the disposal of the general message, at least for that day. But also having some build-up, preparatory work, build-up to it, so that you get some momentum going, and then everything should break loose on the 9th. Is this clear to you? I mean, we have, what, a dozen volunteers working on our ECI. So we would have a dozen people covering different languages, countries, and then a wider partnership. So it's just something very, very simple, very direct, which will draw them into the landing page. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, and we have the last 7 minutes, so maybe let's try to wrap this up. I make some comments and leave time for, oh no, someone wants to say something? Okay, no, sorry, I was hearing noises. No, what I was saying.
Manlio, I think it's
Manlio. Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, sorry, maybe my chat is not working well. I just wanted a couple of points. I think in terms of this conference of the future of Europe, just listening to the conversation, I think it is really, really important that we don't run the sign day in conflict with the conference from the future of Europe, but actually we do it integrated with it. So we need to be part of it. And so, Tony's suggestions in terms of making sure that we have a link in the website of the conference of the future of Europe is absolutely essential. So we can use the conference of the future of Europe as something that highlights this initiative, as opposed to being in conflict with it. I think it's important, and I agree, very important that this is specific to the ECIs, because it gives a simple message and a very concrete one. We're building on something that already exists. We want to make this tool to work better and be more effective. It's quite a simple and concrete proposition. So I think it's important that we keep that very, very focused. The conference on the future of Europe will look at millions of other things. We need to have a very specific and simple message. The survey looks very promising, and I think that's really interesting. In terms of the choice of countries, I would say that it's important to have an Eastern European country. You picked up Hungary, which is an interesting pick, actually, given what Hungary is. That's probably why it costs more. Another alternative could be like Romania or Bulgaria. Those countries. It's important that we get a sense of a different level of knowledge in different part of Southern Europe, Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. I think we need to balance geographically to pick up a list of different corners of Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Manlio. So with regard to the survey, I think every team needs to think about that. And I'm gonna circulate the proposal also to the other, as a follow-up to this meeting. In my opinion, with regards to the point that Tony made, so there are two elements. The first one is that I think maybe all hands on new sign day and leaving the campaign, it's a bit risky. That's a gut feeling, but maybe what we can, again, think with the different teams, but maybe we can make sure that each ECI team commits energies, and a bit we are doing it, but I think to make sure that maybe we can have, I don't know, 2 lines of communication, one which is the ongoing ECI and 1 line of communication and assets related to that for these. But again, I think, of course, a bit, this is the methodology. The idea is that for some time, for a window of time, the focus is the EU sign day for all the ECIs. I don't know if the time should be long time split in 2, like vertically splitted, or we decide the week before we go all in with the communication. I think this is a decision to be made, but of course, without that, it doesn't work, the whole thing. And for the rest, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that we need to have the website in place as soon as possible. The outreach to the institutions with this first proposal for the Conference on the Future of Europe, to which we can follow with more detailed points. But to be honest, I think also we have enough points to be crafted in one message that we can send already with the package, prioritizing the Conference on the Future of Europe website.
Elvig, sorry, question for Elvig. Is it too complicated to think about a flash crowdfunding campaign for the poll? I mean, as a Stop Global Warming, we are interested to participate, and we hope that the cost is spread among the many organizations so that the cost is lower. So it's no problem. I mean, it's no problem. It's something that we can commit, like 700 euros or something like that. I was just wondering if we are in time to have like a quick crowdfunding campaign, if some of you has the experience about that, because this would be also as a communication, it could help then the next step to start to involve the people. Hey, could you help us in knowing how many people really know about what an ECI is?
Yeah, sure, good idea. You can check it out. I mean, the time frame is very close for crowdfunding, but I mean, we can reimburse later with money from the crowdfunding. But good news that if you say Stop Global Warming is in, that's a beginning. That's a good start. Yes.
And Voters Without Borders. I heard Tony saying that. So it's already 3. Now, with the decision on the countries, I think let's think strategically. Another good country in Eastern Europe could be Poland. For us as Stop Global Warming / Humans, for example, Poland is another, maybe it's more relevant than Hungary. I mean, if we have to make a decision, everyone is relevant, but let's not be politically correct now. So maybe we can work on that. Okay, I'm really sorry to cut this short, but the Italians Stop Global Warming Minister are joining us. So I thank everyone for the meeting. This time I will try to be quicker with the follow-up because there are decisions to be made. Individually, if you can tell me if you have people that can do design, like visual cards or the logo, a brief logo, like if you can get back to me even one-to-one on the resources that are possible to allocate in terms of human resources, like, okay, we can design the cards, we can, I mean, if I know what the capabilities of the different teams are there, it's easier to then understand the other elements. And for Daniela, Omri, and the others, please let me know what you think about the project and what you feel you can do and to what extent you think we can work together on this. But I think if we work this nicely, it's quite powerful. And the survey is an outreach. I mean, they don't talk about it, so maybe they will not talk about the fact that they don't talk about it, talking about the media, but at least we have proofs.